Awesome. Well, a good Friday evening here, everybody. Talking to you from the shores of our home here at Sunny Shores, Tulalip, Washington. I moved my indoor tower outdoors just for my backdrop. I've got all my seeds going. Troy, I know we'll hear from you in a little bit, but when you talked about 15,000 to 20,000 seedlings, I feel a little bit I feel a little insufficient with my 100+ seedlings there waiting for my community garden. But we are very excited to have Tim Blank share a little bit with us. And I've known Tim, I guess, since I first got introduced to the Tower Gardens. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Dougie Barlow. I have been with the Juice Plus company for some 25+ years and was introduced to the Tower when Jay Martin invited us to come learn more about what he thought was his next brilliant idea, which I could not agree more. And so I've known a lot of things about Tim, but I won't go on much because I'll let him share a story. But he is the founder and chief technology officer of the Tower Garden Company, which is a division of Juice Plus. And Tim, I know you have a long, lengthy background, so I'm just going to kind of, turn things over to you. And I know we can all learn a little bit more about who you are from your story. I've had the pleasure of, the thing that I love about Tim is that when I run into Tim at conferences or at events, or even when I'm talking to him on the phone, as I did today, I feel like he's a brother. I mean, he and his family are so welcoming. And I just, we are a family in our business. And I am just so grateful to be able to call him a friend, a brother, a mentor. He allowed me to put futurist on my business card. So Tim, I'm going to turn things over to you and kind of have you talk a little bit about those beautiful things that you have right behind you.
Oh, thank you. And somebody's sliding in here to say hi real quick.
Hi.
So my wife, Jessica, for those of you that don't know her, and just wanted to say a few things tonight. We're so excited to be here with everybody. And what else, Jessica?
Oh, well, we missed seeing all at Phoenix, so we're glad we can at least do this virtually.
Yep, yeah. So we just wanted to say hi from our family. Our Tower Garden Juice Plus, we are a global family, and like Doug said, we are friends, and we all know each other well. And this COVID-19, Doug, this has been a big deal for all of us, especially working for a company where we get to travel and share about health and wellness. And for so many families now, kind of being quarantined to their home, it's a different experience. And so for a lot of people who, especially in the cities, who have been waiting an hour to get in a grocery store and the produce has been off the shelves along with the toilet paper and things like that, it's different for us who are tower gardeners. For Doug and Mitra walking out to their towers, for 100 steps from tower to table. For us indoors with our Tower Garden home, it's a 10 steps tower to table. And so Jessica, why don't you share with everybody, just as a mom, what your experience has been, and maybe what some of your friends' experience have been who don't have tower gardens.
Well, it's been crazy, and they're pretty much all panicking because they want to go to the store, but they don't want to get exposed, so they can't. And then if they do go to the store, there's nothing there. So we don't even have to think about that because we've got our towers inside, we've got all our towers outside. We have so much food. So I've been sharing with all my friends and all my mom friends, and they're so happy and excited that they can get fresh produce and lettuce without having to go to the store. So I mean, we feel really lucky and blessed that we have these, and we have so many growing. It's just great.
Well, and we're actually making a few new friends during COVID-19, as strange as that sounds, by hanging up bags of produce on people's doors in our neighborhood. Because for those of us that have towers know that the Tower Garden is the gift that keeps on giving, and you can only eat so much peppers and tomatoes and lettuce and kale every night. We have 5 towers at our house, 3 in the patio right now, and 2 Tower Garden home indoors. We have right behind Jessica is our juicing tower, and right over on this side is our salad tower, and that pretty much gives our family 4 salad every night for dinner. Our 2 beautiful girls who are getting very big now, closing in on those teenage years.
Yeah, and so to keep our kids' immune systems up, we're having them eat everything off the towers too. I mean,
yep.
Bella does not eat any vegetables, so we just take this kale back here and char it, and I juice it for her, or put it in smoothies in the morning with the chocolate complete powder, and she'll drink it, and she loves it. So I'm feeling good about that she's not eating junk food during this time and we can get this healthy stuff in her.
Hey, Doug, I just want to mention, Jessica was just going to stop in really quick, but Jessica and I are going to be coming to you live at our JP Live home event. This is a virtual national conference. It was supposed to be next week in April, and this is the first time we've had to cancel our conference in the history of our company. Doug and me, you probably know how many conferences we've had, but Jessica and I will be coming to you live from her home, and we'll be doing a wonderful detailed presentation on tower gardening. So we're looking forward to seeing you there.
Well, I'll let you and Doug take over. Just wanted to say hi.
Thanks, Jessica. And I'll repeat the information, but you can learn all about our JP Live at home event due to the times by going to juiceplus.com/insights, and all the information for the scheduling and when you can hear Tim and Jessica share a different story than you'll hear tonight. You'll definitely want to go to juiceplus.com/insights to get on the schedule. But Tim, I know that you have an amazing passion for growing. You are Tower Tim. I know my friends in the beginning called me Doug U Plus, so I think we're okay with the nicknames that people give us. But
absolutely, thank you.
What brought you and Jessica to the Juice Plus company, and maybe share a little bit about your background, in terms of where you started and how you got here today.
Absolutely. Well, I met my beautiful wife Jessica while I was at working for the Walt Disney World Company. But the birth of the Tower Garden Company really goes way back in time. I grew up in the Dakotas and tried to make a garden grow 3 months out of the year, and just saw how hard it was to have a conventional garden, saw how difficult it was for farmers to farm in our region, and how many farmers, anything could throw them under. We all know the plight of the small family farmer, which is beginning to change significantly with the global food movement, right, Doug? And you know this. But during the mid-90s, I had the rare privilege to go on a special ride at the Walt Disney World Company. It was actually a backstage tour at the Land at Epcot Center, the Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. And they had these 4-acre greenhouses where they grew 100 fruit crops from around the world using every hydroponic system imaginable. I know Doug and Mitra have visited there, and many of you on the call tonight. And it just blew my mind to see that you could grow food using 98% less water and 90% less land, and not have to use any of the harmful chemical pesticides, and could use all these cool growing systems. So it inspired me. I actually did get a degree in horticulture and greenhouse management. And I actually went back to Disney and got accepted for a position at the Land at Epcot. Had a 12-year career there. In the earlier years, Doug, as you know, worked with NASA, the Department of Energy, the United States Department of Agriculture, and then went on to manage the greenhouses. And my favorite part of all the greenhouses was our futuristic greenhouse, where we did research for NASA, where we had aeroponics growing and vertical growing. I brought some of the first commercial vertical technologies into the Land at Epcot. They were made out of styrofoam. I'm not a big fan of styrofoam, but that's kind of all that was out there. But to me, when I looked at what was happening with planet Earth, with human population, it was very clear that the future of food was not out, it was up. Just like this Tower Garden home here, where we're growing 32 plants, 5 feet tall on a 24-inch footprint, the same place that it would take a chair and end table in your home, we can fit this beautiful Tower Garden home. And Doug, the people that would come to the land, they would, almost everybody an hour-long backstage tour, doesn't matter whether it was a president, a school teacher, a mom, a dad running a farm, they all asked the same question. This is really cool. How can I do this at home? How can I do this on my farm, on my rooftop? And so that's what really inspired Jessica and I to found Future Growing, which is now today Tower Garden, of course, back in 2006. And we quickly identified Tower Garden as the machine that we wanted to use to take vertical gardening forward. And we spent the next, 3 to 4 years developing and testing and bringing the Tower Garden to the mass market, going through all the hiccups that every startup does, developing the right types of plastic, the right way, a way for it to connect together, developing an online store, developing the packaging, marketing, getting out to customers. And we also developed a commercial farming division along with that, which really gave us a lot of national network television opportunity, and really helped people to start understanding that you didn't have to just see this at Disney World. You could actually do this out in the real world, and it was practical, it was affordable, and everybody could grow produce in their own home or within their local community. And we came to the Juice Plus company. We built in a very special and unique way, Doug. As you know, you visited the farm. We built a farm for Dr. Jan Young in Eustis, Florida. And Jan was a member of the Juice Plus company. And during those early years, 2010, 2011, when we finally had the Tower Garden to market in a big way, several people were interested in acquiring the rights to the Tower Garden and taking it forward. And really, we picked the Juice Plus company, and Jay Martin, of course, we're the founder of Juice Plus. We're still extraordinary friends today and spend a lot of time together. You know, he said, my company's been looking for the perfect hydroponic system for 10 years and I haven't found it. And I found it. And what was so special to me about Juice Plus is that as a company, their primary focus and mission is fruits and vegetables in your life and inspiring healthy living around the world. Instead of a catalog of crazy products, Juice Plus just has a handful of extraordinary fruit and vegetable based products that help us stay healthy and well. And so that's why Jessica and I chose Juice Plus. And of course, the first people we met in the company came to Florida. One of the first of the 30 was Mitra Ray and Doug tonight. And they were part of that early test market group. And we got to work with you guys on continuing to develop the Tower Garden. We took a lot of your feedback and we made some changes into the Tower Garden over those first couple of years based upon some of that early research. So that's how we got here, Doug. So, is he frozen?
Tell him he's muted.
Doug, I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. Great. I know, you know, you and Jessica have a special program coming up for our live at home. So I'm going to look forward to hearing more about, you know, what you guys have to share then. But in the meantime, Tim, I know that there's a lot of, you know, a lot of seasoned Tower Garden growers out there, and there's a lot of brand new people. I think COVID-19, the silver lining for us is that it is a watershed moment for the Tower Garden. And so for the new people, a couple of questions that I hear, you know, fairly often. You know, a lot of people will say, oh, I would so love to be able to grow my own food, but I don't know anything about it. I don't have a green thumb. You know, even my house plants die. You know, do you have any words of wisdom for people that are maybe a little tentative about, you know, purchasing our food production machine?
Absolutely. And that's why the Tower Garden is the whole package that it is today. I mean, this garden doesn't require bending, weeding, tilling, going to Home Depot, Lowe's, trying to lug back all those bags of leaking soil and fertilizer and pots that break down in a few years. We've really dumbed it down. We put the seeds, the plant food, everything you need to get growing. As long as you have a water supply and an outlet for these tiny wattage pumps that we use here, you're good to go. So our vision with Tower Garden, as we were developing, was really to create the world's first plug and play outdoor hydroponic growing system, which is now both an outdoor and indoor, Doug. So really what we hear all across the US is we're turning black thumbs into green thumbs. I mean, there's a mom by the name of Kim Barker in Phoenix, has some wonderful kids that she has towers in school. She says, you know, I used to kill cactuses before the Tower Garden. I'm like, how do you kill a cactus? I'm not sure, but she did. And she grew, in fact, I just saw this beautiful Facebook Live she just did on a tomato cage recently. So there are ways that, you know, the Tower Garden is just fun and simple. And it's like really at the end of the day, Doug, if you can follow, you know, we have kids in school, first, second, and third graders building towers. And so if you can add 20 gallons of water to a reservoir and add, you know, 400 mils of your A nutrient, 400 mils of your B nutrient, and plant your seeds, you know, you just do a few simple steps and you're good to go. So we have really made gardening simple. And the beautiful thing about the Tower Garden Company is we have an extraordinary website with extraordinary resources. So, you know, in the beginning, it was just me providing a lot of the information videos, but now we have thousands of master tower gardeners and commercial farmers like Troy, who you're going to hear from tonight, that have so many amazing growing tips and resources. And so depending on, you know, whatever you want to grow, we can support you for sure.
Awesome. And while we're there, I'll encourage, you know, there's a lot, if you just go, you know, search tower garden on the internet, it takes you all over the place, but I will highly recommend 2 sites that I use exclusively and recommend to all of my customers and potential customers. But if you are on Facebook, you can go to Tower to Table, #Tower Garden. That is the site that Troy recommends. That is the company sponsored site. So I'll recommend that you flag that page if you're a Facebook consumer, Tower to Table, #Tower Garden. And also at towergarden.com, the blog there has some amazing information. And I know Tim has authored a lot of those articles along with a team of experts that he has spoken about. So 2 great sites that just keep it. I love the Juice Plus company since the very beginning. Their whole idea has been, you know, there's a lot of challenges we all face in the world, and I love Jay Martin. I kind of adopted this from him. The simplest solution is always the best. So what I like about the Tower Garden is that it does not get any simpler for anybody who has a desire to grow their own food. Another question, Tim. I know especially during these times, you know, people are very concerned about their financial well-being. What do you have to say to people about the return on your investment and investing in a tower? Because, you know, it does cost money, but can you talk a little bit about the cost and how people can recover that cost and how quickly you recover that cost?
Yeah, I would love to. So when we, in the early years of the tower, what has really always bothered me about modern agriculture, modern products, is that everything is built to be disposable. Today, you buy a vacuum from Walmart for $99, and instead of repairing it, you throw it away. And we've become this culture of, you know, when it's cheap, it breaks quickly, and you throw it away, and you buy a new one at a price point that's good for you all. And so really our goal in the early years of the tower garden, we went through several generations of plastic to get it right, to get it opaque, to get it thick, to get it strong. We wanted something that would last a lifetime. I saw a recent post that someone put out there, Doug, that said, for the price of an iPhone, you have food for life. And that really is the power of the tower. It was really designed and built for decades of use. And it's a very strong, robust system, because if you're going to build something out of plastic, you know, build it to last. And that was, you know, that's super important for us. Now, several years ago, we had a farmer up in Atlanta by the name of Brett Bolin, and we asked him, you know, he's been growing vegetables his whole life. And we said, will you take a tower garden, follow our instructions, buy the same produce from Whole Foods, we'll pay you to do it. So whatever the market rate is that time. And he actually found, Doug, that he paid for the tower garden in 6 months. Now, he's a professional farmer. So for some people that might take a year, a little bit more, but it's still nothing, and it's still food secured. And then if you think about this, Doug, every time, you know, that, you know, Jessica or I would drive to the grocery store, it's dinner time. We're cutting produce and we're harvesting a beautiful salad. I mean, we've got all these Asian and spicy greens and basil and spinach up top, and all this just beautiful, and I know Troy sells this, he'll talk about this later, this beautiful red summer crisp lettuce. It's kind of a hybrid between iceberg and romaine, and it holds great sandwich lettuce. It's great for your salad. So anyway.
That's awesome. I like to use the explanation of, you know, if you have a $15 a week budget for your organic greens, at the end of the month, that would be $60 worth of time, energy, and funds that you spend to buy your organic greens at the store. Versus if you buy a tower garden, the company offers you a 12-month interest-free financing program. And so, you know, for about $60 a month to get you started, you can do a little bit more, but I'll say somewhere between $60 and $80 a month over a 12-month window. That's the most economical way to pay for your tower over time. You know, a lot of people love that analogy. But another thing that a lot of people ask, you know, and it relates to this question, is when you do start growing, you know, you get your tower, It takes you 15, 20 minutes, maybe if you're a slow reader, 25 to get it all set up. You get your seeds sprouted. From the day that you start sprouting those seeds, Tim, when do you start to get to reap the reward of the fact that you're growing your own food in a tower?
That's probably the most wonderful. That's a great question, Doug. It's probably the most wonderful thing about the tower garden because, the tower garden arrives at your door with seedlings. So we have a little seed starter kit, and you always want to be sure that you have that seed starter kit by a southern window that gets light all day, or you buy one of those little tiny grow lights on Amazon. You put over a potted plant, run it for 14 to 18 hours. You want to get, you don't want to start your seeds in the dark. They need sunlight. But usually for most of the seed varieties, we send anywhere from 10 days to 3 weeks is that germination window and that sprouting window where they get to be about 2 to 3 inches tall, or 1 to 2 inches tall, and then we go ahead and plant them in the tower, Doug. That's one of the other great ways to do it is that if you order a tower garden, we are blessed now. I don't even know the number, but we have hundreds of tower farmers that use tower gardens that are like 8 feet tall. They have them on rooftops and greenhouses and restaurants. And these are commercial guys that grow and produce local food in very small footprints. And so one of the things we've asked about a dozen of those farmers to do is that we know you're growing thousands of seedlings for yourself. Would you kind of add on a second business to your farming business and grow seedlings for our tower garden customers across the U.S. So Troy Albright, the owner and founder of True Garden, will be on a little bit later, and he's one of those companies that ships out thousands of living seedlings every week. So you can go to their website, pick whatever you want. It ships to your doorstep in 2-3 days, and you're basically putting picture-perfect plants in your tower garden instantly. So for those plants, Doug, we're already cutting our first harvest within one to 2 weeks. So usually for me in my house, we keep it 70 degrees day and night. We're ready to start harvesting literally within a week. You're cutting lettuce or kale or anything like that. And I would use this opportunity too to mention, Doug, on this question that a lot of people ask me a common question which relates to your seedlings. Where do I start? What do I do? And I think in the early years, like when you all were test marketing, I used to promote the tower garden as a cornucopia. We built this machine to grow tomatillas, tomatoes, eggplant, pepper, cucumber, lettuce, and we can watermelon, cantaloupe, and strawberries. And we can do all those things. But to a first-time gardener, we kind of learned over the years that planting a cornucopia was a little bit of, could be chaotic and could be, oh my God, I planted that beautiful eggplant, but I realized I don't even really like it that much. And so now we've kind of themed our towers, especially when we're growing indoors with LED grow lights where we can't grow those giant bushy crops like you do out in your deck there, Doug. We're really focused on 3 main types of towers, and that would be, a salad tower. So a family of 4 can have a salad every night for dinner off of the tower garden home. Or a juicing tower. Almost everybody in the health and wellness community, if you're passionate about your health, you're doing smoothies or juicing every day. So we can grow a tower to support that. And there's nothing better than throwing this, beautiful multicolored chard and this pink amaranth. And if you just see all these beautiful phytonutrients there, different colors or different types of nutrition. And then the third type of tower would be an urban cooking tower. So things you use every day, basil, chives, green onion, parsley, cilantro, an urban cooking tower. So those 3 towers is what I would recommend, Doug, where people start. If you're a first-time tower gardener, keep it fun and simple. Say, I'm gonna be motivated to grow a salad for my family every night for dinner, or even for myself if you live alone, or I want to be juicing every day off of this beautiful tower here. So I strongly recommend, don't do what Doug Barlow and Meach do. Start out, I don't know, I think you're 12 towers or something now, Doug. Don't start out with 12 towers. But those guys provide food for their family and friends, and, on literally, 15, 20 minutes a day is what they spend harvesting from all those towers. For Jessica and I, just off of these 2 towers, maybe 5 minutes a day, we're always harvesting. We don't try to grow a giant bushy tower with full heads of lettuce. Our goal is to keep the sun shining in on it and the breeze blowing through it.
Awesome. Cool. Well, let's see. I think we've got time for one more question before we have Troy come on. But This has really been, I'm so grateful that you have the time to spend with us here, Tim. And so I guess my final question for you is, if you had one thing to close on, and not to give away any secrets for what you're going to do for the company at the live event, but
Yeah.
what is your vision? Like, where do you see this going, and what is the most, you've spent a life, exploring this opportunity. What's your one thing that you'd like to share in closing?
I've never been asked that, so thank you for this opportunity. Really, right now, COVID-19 is on all of our minds, and we're finding ways to be human-centric and all these ways we're connecting on Zoom and things like that. But for those of you that have heard me speak before, prior to COVID-19 and kind of meeting the dire necessity of clean, safe food, I mean, you walk into the grocery store and they're still spreading out raw produce and lettuce and things like that, where people are coughing and breathing and touching. It's kind of crazy that there's plastic between you and the cashier, but farmers don't have any other choice, because they don't have bags with SKUs. They weren't set up for all that. It'll take them months to kind of get there from when this started. But prior to all this madness, Doug, for me, this has been an environmental passion. I've, our health and wellness, to kind of move beyond our sick care system, we need to get into putting clean, healthy, nutritious food back into our body. That's what you've been about. That's what Mitra's been about. It's why we're brothers and sisters. We have the same passion from day one. And all this environmental stuff in the news. One of the things they never talk about, what to me is the most important, is the largest carbon footprint that humanity leaves on planet Earth is agriculture. Modern agriculture, our food's coming from 3,000 miles away. We're flying food from California to India, for goodness gracious. We're shipping at 3,000 miles across the US. And I want to leave you all with this thought and to think about this, that every time, you reach over and you harvest a bunch of kale or head of lettuce, you're saving up to 10 gallons of water, the fuel it took to harvest it. You're eliminating those harmful pesticides. Those farmers had to spray on the plants, and they're leach into the ground and get into our aquifer. You're eliminating the plastic wrapper. You're eliminating that cardboard box, the shipping it across the country, the chilling it, your gas to drive to Jessica and I don't drive to the store for dinner. In fact, I'd have to say I'm lazy if I had to walk 10 steps, right, to get to my tower. It's such a, to save up to 10 gallons of water, and again, not to go to Whole Foods and harvest it, and then I buy my kale and my juicing stuff for the week, Doug, and we don't always use it, and 40% of it goes bad. This was your story before the Tower Garden. You and Mitra used to talk about this all the time, and the fact that we're cutting it as we need it, and living food is so fresh and so nutritious for our body. But I just feel like the power that each one of us has to significantly impact the environment and improve our health is phenomenal. We don't really have to hold up a sign and get out there and protest about the environment. We have to live it. We have to do it. And so whether you're growing a garden in your backyard or you're growing in the Tower Garden, I encourage you to grow your own food at home. Be in control of your food supply and know where it comes from. And if you don't, get to know your local farmer and support him. Thank you, Doug.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tim. And again, if you want to hear more from Tim and his lovely wife, Jessica, you can go to juiceplus.com/insights, and you can get the schedule for where they are going to be doing a 20-minute presentation for our Juice Plus Live at Home next week. And with that, stick around, Tim, and we're going to have a Q&A coming up here in just a few minutes. But I'd like to introduce our next guest, Mr. Troy Albright. He runs True Garden Farms. He also, similar to Tim, has an interesting background. But Troy, I'm going to turn it over to you, and maybe you can just share a little bit about, how you got started and how did you end up with one of the most successful commercial tower garden farms in Arizona, coming from, I think, somewhere up in the northern Midwest region.
Oh, hey, Dougie, how are you? It's great to hang out with you remotely like this, and Tim. It's good to see him too. Well, I got inspired. It was actually Nicole Nichols. She was actually one of my patients, and she knows how I like to control every ingredient that I put into my compound. So as a licensed pharmacist, she goes, this is just like compounding. And I'm like, growing foods like compounding? Like, come on, Nicole. She goes, no, you can control your water, your seeds, your environment. And I thought about it. I'm like, oh yeah. So in Minnesota, we we were farmers. My parents and grandparents and great-grandparents were farmers, and I still have cousins farming today. And so I was like, okay, let me try this. Bought a couple of them. I showed the neighbor guy, and we built a little greenhouse on his property and went up to 10 towers. And I was like, I could not believe the amount of produce we could grow in that, 200 square feet. I was amazed because, I'm coming from a farming background, and we have these big tractors and, all these chemicals. And my wife and I decided, well, let's bring this to the community. So 7-8 years ago, we built the greenhouse, and met Tim almost 10 years ago, and I was inspired by what he was doing, and I wanted to do it too, and it's just grown into what it is today, and we're excited to be broadcasting here from our greenhouse. I want to turn this around and just show you all the different seedlings. So at any given time, we have 15 to 20,000 seedlings grown in our greenhouse just for our own production. But as a result of what's going on, Dougie, I've added 3 more tables into my greenhouse here. So I've added 9,000 more seedlings. So I'm producing close to 30,000 seedlings a month just to stay up with demand. I want people to be confident that we'll be able to provide seedlings year round to them, no matter how long this COVID things last, and knowing that we are going the extra mile for them. We can't control our shipping, but we will do our darndest to make everything right. We're one of the only greenhouses, Doug, that is using the tower technology that has the USDA GAP certification. And I get 9 inspections a year by the USDA, 9 inspections. And so it's interesting, as I get these inspections, they come in and they're used to soil farms, and they just can't believe I'm not dealing with all the same different issues that soil. So it's just incredible. The automatic water just turned on here. So you're going to see all the different seedlings. So we're one of the only tower farms that have gone and got GIP-GAP certified, and we get all these inspections year round. So again, we're already doing a lot of the things that they're going to talk about implementing on our crops around that are being grown in the field. We're already doing that. We're already cleaning our water up. We're already gloving, hair nets, booties, masks. We're already doing all that in our greenhouse. So this isn't a change for us. It's something that's easy for us to do. So we're excited to be one of the premier seedling providers for the tower gardens. We've been approached by lots of other companies to provide seedlings for them, and we've chose not to do that. We chose to continue to just be strictly a tower garden provider when it comes to the seedlings. And we also offer all the natural botanicals, and we offer the different products online as well. So we're excited about it. We're excited to be a part of this, and the sky is the limit with the tower.
Well, Troy, I'm envious of you. I mean, I know Tim's kind of proud sitting with his 2 towers there in his home, but that greenhouse, I've been there, I've toured it, and it is a thing of beauty to walk amongst all of that greenery, knowing that you can eat almost everything that's in that greenhouse. So with that, I'm going to turn our program. Tim, I can't thank you enough, really. It's been a pleasure to have the opportunity to have you share with our team. I know you're always willing to kind of let things go on. Again, I will remind everyone, you can hear more from Tim and his beautiful wife at our Juice Plus Live at Home event, which is going to start next Thursday evening, go through Friday and Saturday. If you want to know when you can catch Tim and Jessica, go to juiceplus.com/insights, and that will provide you with the schedule and when to watch all these events and how to plug in. You can also, as a resource, I think my beautiful assistant is putting that up on the screen now. You can go to Tower to Table, #Tower Garden. That is a website or that is a Facebook page I recommend that everyone use, as well as the blog. And I know Troy, that's what they recommend to all their tower gardeners. At this point, I think I'm going to turn it over to you, Mitra. And I don't know if you have anybody that's got some questions, but we're going to take some time and just sort of drop it down a notch. It is Friday evening, so I'm going to encourage everyone to just take a deep breath. If you have a favorite beverage you like to relax with, feel free to get that. And we're going to take, these fine gentlemen have offered to take another 20 minutes or so to answer anybody's questions about tower gardens and how it all works and what they can grow and what you can't grow and some of the problems. So with that, Amitra, do you have anyone that has a question?
Yes, I do. First of all, let's see. Carol had asked, I noticed that the holes with the screw in the ports at living towers, is that something you did when switching to the something, I don't know.
Yeah.
She's asking about Rockwell. So I think, I don't know, probably Troy. I gave that website, I know they can order from truegarden.com, but if you wanted to talk about that at all, the coconut.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. So we've been pursuing to always raise the bar with what we're doing. And so 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago now, we started researching cocoa coir. And our goal was to come up with something that was not only certified organic, but something that was actually sustainable, something that you could compost. And we tried lots of different varieties of cocoa coir out there. We finally found one that was actually certified organic. And so, we've got this little paper net sack around it, beautiful roots coming out of it. And it works really well. We get less bugs. We get actually better root for proliferation. We get, we don't have to turn the pump on as much, so it doesn't have to water as much. So we're excited about using it. Again, Tower Garden Division sanctioned us to do it. We're still collecting data on it. And we're excited to be able to bring this to the forefront and provide it as another a way to grow in a different grow medium. So we're excited about that and thrilled to be able to do it.
That's great, thanks. And then Shasta asked, where do the nutrients in the system come from, and do you compute the land use, environmental impact of that in your assessment? And I know you answered some of it, but maybe you want to just address it so people are clear.
Well, Tim, do you want to give them some basics on that?
Yeah, so the Tower Garden mineral blend, it's really the science of hydroponics, like we talked about, is really taking the minerals that you normally find in the soil. And so when we do work in the soil, when we water in the soil and we compost in the soil, in that process of composting and decomposition and watering, there's a lot of things that are wasted and never used in the soil. So the science of hydroponics is really taking, I mean, you'll see if you take your concentrated A and B minerals, they go a long, long way. So we source as many of those minerals as we can here locally in the United States. And those are very specific type of pure, clean minerals. Minerals are not only important for plant growth, but a wide range of trace minerals, which are important for human growth. And really what I love about raw earth minerals, and they are taken from places before human pollution moved in over the last couple hundred years. And so they're very clean. A lot of our modern organic fertilizers like fish emulsion and modern compost, where they're composting from industrial centers, has a pesticide chain, and with fish, a mercury chain and a heavy metal chain. So we really prefer to use clean earth minerals, and we use a very, very small amount. So if we were to compare that with conventional agriculture, we're simply using less water and less minerals, and what we're using is getting directly to the roots of the plant. It's not being wasted. So every time this tower garden turns on, it goes up to the shower cap, it runs past the roots and nourishes them, and it ends up back down in the reservoir where it's stored for the next watering cycle. And indoors, that's going to be 40 minutes later. So we use just what we need, and we recycle 100% of those nutrients and water. So good question.
Yeah, great. Thanks. That was a great answer. Okay, let's see. Somebody asked about, can you buy seeds? Is there a website you recommend to buy seeds, either one of you? I can also add that to that page.
I'll let Troy hit that up. I know Troy, I believe they sell seedlings at True Garden. We ship seedlings with the Tower Garden, like your starter seedlings. One of my favorite seed suppliers everyone knows is johnnyseeds.com. Because of the COVID-19, they have been extraordinarily busy, and they've closed to residential sales, I think, until May or June. Hopefully they'll be back open in May. So that's just for seed sources. Some of my favorite, johnnyseeds.com, and what we have that comes with the Tower Garden. We've selected some great varieties. And Troy, do you want to add to that?
Yes, so we mainly use Johnny Seeds as well. We've had great success with them. They're an employee-owned company as well, and they verify. They're all non-GMO verified, organic when available. And we're in the process. There's been such a demand for not only seedlings, but we're gearing up to start producing packets of seeds. So that's something we're working on. Our goal is within the next 30 to 45 days to actually be selling the same seed packs, the same seeds that we use for our seedlings in seed packs. So we're gearing up for that right now, getting those labels made and acquiring seeds from Johnny Seeds as well. So we're in the process of ramping up to do that as well. So we're excited about that. So stay
And
tuned.
just to be,
Within the next 2 months, we'll have that.
that's great. And just to be clear, when you order a tower garden, I just want to make sure all the new people understand, you get some starter seeds, some easy to grow plants, so you can like experience success right away. That's our goal, right? So don't worry about, if you just order one, where you're going to get seeds. You're going to get everything you need when you order tower gardens to get going. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Somebody asked how much hydroelectricity, which is, okay, would it take, or would it attract birds and bugs to your balcony?
I'll try to answer that question. The tower garden, guys, it's growing vertically in this really clean system. So no, it's not attracting all kinds of things to your balcony. And, really like any garden, I always recommend if you want to keep your garden pest free. And actually, if you go to our, like Dougie mentioned, our towergarden.com, click on the blog link. There's different authors. If you click on me, we have a great link to organic pest control. I think True Garden is also posted. Mitra's probably posted it somewhere. It lives out there. It's simple organic recipes that we do get pests. But I always tell people, one of the best way to control pests is to use your tower. You want to be able to see white plastic, meaning that you're always cutting off of that. I've met passionate gardeners over the years. I think even Doug had one of his first out of 12 towers had, people experiment, they get crazy, they get overgrown. So whether it's a garden in the soil or garden here, if you let it get overgrown and bushy, stuff's going to nest. But what we do know is that we're growing food up off the ground vertically. We're eliminating, when insects lay eggs, they drop down and they land in the soil where they nurture, and they don't really do that on the tower garden or your balcony. So just keep it harvested, and I don't see all kinds of wildlife coming up. I think for most people that grow in the tower garden, just love the beautiful waterfall sound that it makes when it's turning on. Good question.
Okay, great. Next question. Can restaurants apply for government grants for these towers or stores? I know schools can, but just curious how far the grants go.
Troy? I think Troy.
Muted. He's muted.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
So what was the exact question again? I was distracted. Sorry about that.
Can restaurants apply for government grants for these towers or stores? I know schools can, but just curious how far the grants can go.
It's interesting. We know that there's lots of money out there from the USDA. I know there's a lot of money that the veterans are getting. We're working on projects for veterans and other companies like that to bring that to different parts of the country. I believe we all can tap into it. It's just knowing how to get to those grants and then have grant writers. And so that's been, I think, the biggest issue for a lot of us is we don't know how to write these grants or even find someone that can do it, that knows what we're talking about. So I know there's money out there. I just don't know how to access it.
And Troy, if I could add to that, I think there's, so for homeowner, I'm not aware of grants, but for the small urban farmer, the USDA does have small farm grants. You can Google that. It's on the USDA website. One of their key requirements is that you've been in business for a year. So they don't want people getting the grant and not even starting their business. They want to. So I always tell people a lot of on our Tower Farms division, which is the commercial farming side of the Tower Garden Company, you can see that at towerfarms.com, kind of learn about what we do we have farms as small as 10 towers, next to a restaurant. And so I always encourage people, get up and growing and, get yourself branded, get a customer base, and you'll be surprised how quick 12 months goes by. And then you are eligible for that USDA grant.
Okay. And I'm Joy Kelly, who owns a Tower Garden Farm just texted me that High Mowing is a good seed source selling to residential clients right now. And they also use Baker Creek. So High Mowing and Baker Creek. Baker Creek is more for like heirlooms, a little more niche market. Okay, someone is a little bit concerned about, I can imagine that they're probably, they've never seen anything like this before, and they're wondering how do I put this together? How many fruits and veggies are produced? How do you harvest? How often can you harvest? So I know that's a lot of new, great questions. And Tim, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. You know what? I'm gonna pass that one along to Troy. What I love over at True Garden, they do classes. I think every other weekend. They have 50 people in there from around the Phoenix, New Mexico, California region. The people drive 7 hours actually to come to a class and learn. So Troy, what are your, I before I hand it off to Troy, I'd say really the Tower Garden was designed around being fun and simple. So I would stick with that note that I made during the presentation of grow a beautiful juicing tower, and I'll tell you, like my top 3 juicing, it would be a chard, kale, parsley. They're literally the gift that keeps on giving for 6 months. So if you can cut with the scissors, you can harvest off your juicing tower. On a salad tower, I do some red and green lettuces, and if you can cut with the scissors, you can cut off your tower. Salad lettuces you're going to harvest for about 4 months. Start really, if you're first-time gardener, definitely don't try to plant that cornucopia like I made Doug and Mitra do the first time around. But of course they were extraordinarily successful regardless. So Troy, I would then turn it over to you. What are some of just the simple tips? You're really honestly, boots on the ground. You're dealing with hundreds of customers per month. What would be your top 3 or 4 tips of just keeping it simple?
Well, I always tell them, grow the things you love to eat, especially if you're new to tower gardening. Because if you grow things you love to eat, it's easy. And then you get your kids involved as well. Because then if you get your kids involved and they eat it, they're going to be healthier too. And then the next thing is, you've got to harvest your tower. I get pictures all the time, and it looks like we have hedges growing. Like my herbs down here, they just look like hedges. And I'm like, are you guys eating off those? I mean, we don't even realize how much a tower can produce until we get these towers going. So harvest your tower often. You're going to be having a higher quality produce off it, less bugs. I mean, grow what you love to eat. And that's what I tell most people.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I mean, really, I think that people need not worry about, are they getting enough produce from the tower? Abundance is more the problem. Go share with your neighbors all that you can grow. It's a great way to meet your neighbors. As somebody was, Tim, Jessica was sharing in the beginning. Okay, so somebody really wants to know, Tim, I'm imagining this question is for you. What is your favorite Disney princess?
That question is not for me, Doug. Who stuck that in there?
Maybe it was for Jessica. Maybe your kids.
I think it was for my daughters. Jessica, what do you think? Our daughter.
Frozen.
Elsa. Of course, Elsa the Frozen. Of course, they're 10 and 6. So I'm drowning. They had to come out with a Frozen too.
Okay, and I
just
know.
want to say, Tim, there's like 60 people that have questions, so I know we're not going to get to them all, but there's over close to 300 people tuning in, just so you know who all's listening.
We may be here all night.
We'll do this again. We'll do this again too. Now that we have Zoom, we don't have to meet just every half a year.
Right. And then for the Disney princess, the same person asked, they're concerned about it being the same soil. Just to save time, I'm going to tell you it's better than the soil that you're going to get in the earth, where you're depending on bacteria. Whereas the beauty of these nutrients is they're like, you can't fail. You just stick them in, they work. And they're going to get, it's all the nutrients, and the plant will absorb whatever ones it needs. So it's really cool. Okay. How much is it? You can ask the person who invited you. You can also go to towergarden.com, but it's important to get back to the person who invited you to this Zoom to ask about the pricing. And
can I also just add, someone shared that, the government, I don't, if you can qualify for it, awesome. But the government is handing out these $1,200 checks. And you know what? that will cover the cost of a tower garden over the next 12 months. I thought that was the best use of your government check.
Well, more than that.
Yeah.
A couple tower gardens.
Okay, let's see. JuicePlus.com insights comes up saying the requested page could not be found. What is Tim's schedule? Okay, so the thing is they don't have an exact schedule of the talks yet, but I believe Tim is speaking Friday. The really cool thing that you guys need to understand about this thing is that, you know, it has the start time on Insights. That's all it has. It doesn't say when it ends, but that's when the videos will get posted. And once it's there, it's not going to disappear for like a week. So you can find it. But the earliest it will be available is Friday. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I want to say Friday afternoon is 4 o'clock is Central Time is probably when they're starting, but that information is on Insights. But there isn't a specific detail on there's a lot of good information. And at next week, we will get a lot more information about the speakers and things like that. And Thursday, you'll see it on that site. So I know there's some technical challenges.
I apologize. I was quoting it wrong. It's juiceplusinsights.com. It's all one
Oh, I
word.
see. Oh, I see what you guys did. Okay.
My
Yes,
bad.
juiceplusinsights.com. Okay, thanks for seeing that. Okay. I didn't understand that. Let's see. What is the major difference between the flex growing system versus the home one?
I'm glad you asked that question because that is one of our primary topics with a bunch of visuals. So tune in Friday, April 24th. But in a nutshell, flex is for outdoors. The Tower Garden Home is more for indoors. We cover that in a lot more detail, and you can always use the Tower Garden Home outdoor on your patio. But tune in on Friday, and we will cover that with some wonderful visuals. You guys are absolutely going to love it.
Linda is asking, can you use grow lights outside? I'm like, you could. I don't know. Do you have anything to add to that?
Absolutely not. So think of the grow lights like a kitchen appliance. They do need to be used indoors. And one of the things that I love about growing indoors, Mitra, you know this, is that temperate food crops is what most of us eat. Love the same temperatures people do. So people generally like to keep their home around 60 to 75, 78 degrees. Food crops love that. If we're outdoors, it kind of goes up and down there. That's why there's a season outdoors, which the Tower Garden extends that season exponentially. But growing indoors with LEDs is one of the best places you can grow, but they are not outdoor rated like most of your other kitchen appliances. So do not put them out in the rain. You don't want to see our circuit breaker trip.
Okay. Somebody's asking if you need to do anything if the water is city water.
No, what we have learned is that most, chloride is actually an essential trace mineral for plants. And so also when the Tower Garden recirculates water, it's a natural degas chamber for chlorine. Tumbling water makes chlorine evaporate. So chlorine disappears very quickly out of the Tower Garden as well. So most city waters, I grow beautiful towers with Jessica's family in Los Angeles, and that's some of the worst chlorinated water you could ever imagine. And our Tower Gardens just look beautiful there. There's a few places like Phoenix that have some really, really hard water that comes from the earth. And True Garden sells a Gator filter that's good for sterile, for just taking some of that concentrated minerals out of there. And it's good for soil garden and hydroponic garden. They've kind of developed it for both. So you can check that out at truegarden.com and or do the info. But for most city waters, we can grow beautiful towers. Plants, the wonderful thing, Mitra, you know this about food crops is that they generally don't take up a lot of toxic things. If they get on their leaves, well, then you're eating them. But food crops aren't really, heavy feeders of toxic chemicals in the ground or in the water. So we really don't notice any challenges with city water for the most part. And all city water is potable water, save for human consumption. We probably wouldn't like as much chlorine, but that keeps bad things out of it when it comes from lakes. So
great. And a lot of the questions, there's no way I'm going to get to all 70 questions. So I kind of want to summarize general. A lot of the questions that we're getting are around like how do I do this if I order one? And we just want to tell you, it's easy to assemble and it's easy to follow the directions and grow the plants. The hardest thing might be to get a seedling itself to grow. That might be the hardest step that you have to really make sure that the seed that and the instructions are right there. There's like not, you don't have to figure anything out. You just have to read and do what the instructions tell you to do. Plus, we have all this support. So asking some of these questions ahead of time until you have the tower itself, you'll forget the answer we give you anyway, but it's not that hard to do. So I just want to, I'm not going to go into the detailed questions about this. And and there's also like variations in where you can grow, where you live. You're going to have to do some experimentation. Again, that's where these blogs and these Facebook groups really come in handy. So you can talk to people that live in similar, you know, temperatures or climate as you do. And really, some things will grow better and some things just grow very easily no matter where you are, like lettuces and things like that. Whereas other things are, you can, you know, like in the summer, we venture out and grow all kinds of things that we know we really can't grow very well during the winter indoors.
Mitra, could I add something to that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say that, you know, that's one of the beautiful things. We launched Tower Garden Home, you know, 6 months ago now at our previous conference. And so with our state-of-the-art full spectrum LEDs, we can grow year-round inside any home. So that kind of eliminates the seasonality. When we grow outdoors, guys, there's literally the USDA has local county extension agents in every county across the United States. Their service is free. So when you Google USDA gardening recommendations, we actually follow the USDA. We're going to follow what we're doing in a soil garden, but we know with Tower Garden, because we're up off the ground, we can sometimes start earlier or do it longer. And I just want to say, you know, with the instructions and the videos we have designed gardening. Mr. Stephen Ritz of the Green Bronx Machine, you know, is a great example of empowering first, second, and third graders in the classroom. They hand them the box and the instructions, and they put them together with very little guidance. So we've set this up we've designed it for first graders. So if they can do it, anybody can do it.
That's a really great answer. I'm going to have to remember that. I have to remember that Stephen does this with first graders. And also, a lot of people are asking you about, you know, other options for lights and things. And, you know, maybe speak to the history of how we came to the lights, or any part, really. You guys have to understand that this product comes to you after how many years of, you know, tweaking and playing, and even us getting the towers. I remember we were getting halogen lights that were so dangerous. They were scaring me, you know. And now we have these amazing LED lights that can grow all year round. So just maybe speak to, like, you know, we do know what we're doing, or you do.
Yeah, I would love to meet you. Thank you. So, I mean, think of the Tower Garden like Tesla. We're about the same age. We've been around with the Juice Plus company for 8 years, and we're really the Tesla of gardening. That's what we've always been about. And what does Tesla do? The Tesla of today is not the Tesla of yesterday. We're always improving and tweaking. And when we came to the company, we were an outdoor garden company, and it's really our huge customer base across North America, especially our Canadian friends and our Northern friends, that demanded grow lights. They started wrapping Christmas tree lights around the tower, and okay, this is scary. Someone's going to start their house on fire. So Jay Martin, Steve Williams, let's come up with what we're going to do for grow lights. And we were, at that time when we first started Mitra, we were using those off-the-shelf metal halide lights, and those kids can burn their hands on them. Those were legal to use indoors, but they use a lot of energy. That's what we used. That's decade-old technology. And then we evolved to the T8, and then our T8 lights, and then now these full spectrum LEDs. We've loved LEDs for 8 years, but it's really just in the last 5 years, the price has been coming down in an affordable way. And what's really cool about these lights on the Tower Garden Home is that they install onto any Tower Garden, any generation of Tower Garden. These LED lights work with. You basically just remove the shower cap lid, which is where the watering happens up here. And then this light, it fits like the male end of a Lego, and it just literally slides right down in the tower. And you take, and I don't know if you know this tip, Mitra, but you can take a little 8-inch kitchen plastic pot, and I use that to wrap my Tower Garden arm around. And you get just 4 arms. You do them about the width of your tower. I see some people putting their lights way out here. I don't like that, because it encourages them to grow big bushy plants. I keep my lights just nice and flush with the tower. So if I've got a 24-inch tower, my lights are at about 24 inches. 1 foot on this side, 1 foot on this side. Forces me to keep those plants harvested and trimmed. So we are continuing to do some amazing things. I could just give you guys a little tidbit. Some of the things that we have 3 places we do research at for the Tower Garden Company. And one of our larger indoor research facility, I can tell you, we've got about 20 towers going right now and some really, really amazing things happening. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and speaking of lights, somebody was asking if the grow lights are sold out till June. Can you grow with the home indoor tower by a window until then?
That's a great question. So we hope those lights are, we've just had a really unprecedented demand. I mean, it's been logarithmic exponential growth here going through our first quarter, as you all know. So you'll have to forgive us. We've never had anything like this happen. So we have some lights on back order, and I do hope they arrive before June. I think June was their safety zone because we already have thousands on pre-order, I believe. So hopefully they arrive before then. But in the meantime, if you have a large southern window that gets light all day, certainly you could do it in front of that window. Tower Garden Home is made of the same great food grade UV stabilized plastic as the Tower Garden Flex. So if you want to grow with, if you like the more, a lot of people have balconies that are only 5 feet by 5 feet, and you want a smaller 24-inch unit, get the Tower Garden Home. Grow outdoors in your balcony without grow lights. It's one of the things we're going to be talking about at conference. Tower Garden Home can be used outdoors if you want something, a little bit smaller meter, but you've got to have really good light. So if you have a large southern window, maybe everyday meter, I'd suggest rotate that Tower Garden just a quarter of a turn. And that way you're getting sun all the way around it. So, but if you don't have a southern window that gets sun all day, you're going to be out of luck, and you got to wait for the grow lights to show up.
Great.
Hey, can I ask a quick question for Troy and or Tim? Because I get this, I get this a lot. You talk about these full spectrum LED lights, but you get a lot of people. They envision growing like, outdoor style tomatoes in the middle of winter. So Troy, how much do you grow any fruiting plants in the greenhouse? And to Tim, can you use these indoor towers to grow like fruiting plants?
So let me answer that real quick, and I'll just turn it over to Troy. So really, we want to keep this simple. When you look at the way the LED lights are structured, they're close to the tower. You can't really put LEDs great distances. They do need to be close to your plants. So to keep it fun and simple, we've always recommended the leafy greens, lettuce, and herbs, right? Our 3 themed towers, a juicing tower, salad tower, and urban cooking tower. And we've encouraged the beginning farmer to stay away from tomatoes and fruiting crops indoors. Where, remember, I told you, Doug, earlier, we could start harvesting off of any of those crops I just mentioned within a week. I can start cutting. Tomato or pepper and eggplant, that's going to take many weeks to get a flower and a fully ripened fruit. And we kind of leave the fruiting crops indoors. There's lots of advanced tower gardeners that are doing fruiting crops indoors, but they've learned how to pinch their plant back early. Instead of a pepper plant that grows 3 feet out, we've turned it into a 12 or 18-inch dwarf pepper plant. And so that takes a little bit more skill set. So if you have skill set, that's like the master gardener, the guy that really knows how to manipulate vegetables indoors. Of course, outdoors, Doug, you do it. You can have a watermelon running 20 feet away from the tower.
Grow, baby, grow outdoors.
That's right. Troy, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, my wife gives me that same question. Here we have this big, beautiful greenhouse. Why can't I have tomatoes year round? So we're in the process of putting a big hoop house outside to where we can grow those tomatoes year round. But in the back of our greenhouse, where we have the big exhaust fans pulling the air through, we do grow our tomatoes year round, and so it can be done. It just takes a lot more finesse. And again, we encourage those that are just trying to do this for their first time, stick to the leafy greens and herbs, and they'll be very successful.
Yeah, and like I said, just be clear to support what Troy's saying. We can grow all these crops. To one of Mitra's earlier questions, because we've been doing this for 14 years, we have learned over those years, year by year, how to keep it fun and simple for each family. And so, like I said, I know Doug and Mitra, when they got their towers, they grew if there was almost every seed in Johnny's catalog probably during those first couple of years. So it can be done. It's just you know, where you want to start. We want to encourage you to keep it fun and simple.
Great. Somebody's asking about the plastic. I can't remember if you spoke to it or not. It is food grade plastic. I don't know if you want to speak to that or.
Yeah. So one of the things in the early development of the plastic is this is a food safe plastic, and it's UV stabilized for outdoor use. And in the early years, it wasn't opaque. It was a different type of plastic. And, you know, we learned we didn't want algae growing inside. We learned we didn't want it heating up inside. So over the years, we fine-tuned that type of plastic. And then by the time we came to the Juice Plus company, it was a food grade, UV stabilized, and 100% opaque. So you can, I don't encourage you to do this at home, but you can take a plastic part, hold it up to the sun, and you won't see the sunlight. And one of the things that I love about that, it's something I learned about plastics about over 14 years ago, was that with UV light, plastics break down from the inside out. Because if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's or any garden center, most of those plastic pots you pick up, if you hold them to the sun, you'll see them glowing. And that means the sunlight's getting in. And it's literally breaking that plastic down from the inside out. So we knew with the tower garden plastic, our goal was to make it opaque. And I will tell you, with white plastic, that's not an easy task, but we've done it.
Okay. Somebody is, I'm not sure what this question is saying, that they live in a small space, so they don't know about a juicing tower and a salad tower. And I just want to say, just start with one tower. If you only have a small space, trust me, like just even having one tower is going to, you know, make a difference in your life. I don't know what else to say about that.
Mitra, I would just add to that too, very simply, and I want to make sure I didn't confuse anybody by theming their towers. So absolutely, say if you have one tower and you do like juicing, you do like salad, very simple. We got 32 plant sites here on Tower Garden Home. Split them up. Half of it's juicing, half of it's salad. Both of those types of plants take up the same amount of space. So if you like basil, if you want to do an urban cooking tower and a juicing tower and a salad tower, of course you can do it all into one tower. Absolutely. Good question.
Awesome. How does the flavor of Tower Garden produce compared to grocery store produce?
Well, Mitra, why don't you answer that?
Well, I keep answering questions. I mean, you guys are supposed to be answering the question.
Well, I mean, really,
yeah.
when Jay Martin drove up to the Living Towers farm back in 2011.
Troy, were you trying to speak? I don't know. Your reception is a little bit, you're frozen.
You want me to finish that? I was going to say, no matter what, who I bring in the
Something's happened to your reception, Troy.
Mitra, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, well, you see that beautiful chard leaf? Wonderful and tender. You know, Jay Martin said when you all came to Florida and visit our farm, and hopefully I don't have a green tooth here somewhere, and visit that farm, the number one thing everybody said was, as soon as we opened the car door, we could smell the farm. And that's an indicator of nutrition, the aroma, the flavor. And what I also love is that sometimes when you buy that old produce in the store, it's very hot and stringy and stuff. And really everything on here, the kale.
The microgreens are so good.
All these microgreens going up here. Look at that.
Yeah, I see that Jessica got in on the action. She's like, oh, we're tasting towers. I'm going to get in.
Yeah.
There we go.
All these beautiful, they taste very tender. So it's a wonderful, actually. You get addicted to, I'll be honest with everybody, you really get addicted to Tower Garden produce. I swear, every trip I come back, it's midnight or 2 in the morning, and Mitra does the same thing when she returns from her speaking schedule. Make a Tower Garden salad. I want to feel energetic and vibrant, because everything I've been eating on the road tastes bland and flavorless when you leave your Tower Garden.
Okay, and then we have one final question, because it comes up a lot. There's a lot of misunderstanding about the word organic, and also the difference between growing in soil versus aeroponically. it's kind of like all lumped into one category in my mind.
But we do have an hour, right, to talk on the subject. No. That's a loaded question if you're talking to.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's the last one.
But no, we're going to keep this down to a minute, guys. So really, you know, I'm so actually really glad you asked that question, because I think there's a lot of confusion around the modern organic label. So if we were to go back 2 decades, the organic farmer, before there was a national certification, was all about I'm growing chickens here and I'm composting here and I kind of have this ecosystem. The modern organic farm doesn't require you to have that ecosystem. The modern organic farm only requires that your fertilizer comes from plant or animal source. And of course, we have hydroponic farmers, and they make it very difficult. Actually, you got to use these organic sludges, and you got a lot of secondary bacterial and fungal growth in your nutrient solution, and it makes it real difficult to do this. So organic certification that's the only national regulated farming standard in the United States of America. And they don't regulate protein content, carbohydrate, and nutrition. All they regulate is what goes into it. It's really up to the farmer to determine some of those things. When I look at what we've done with the Tower Garden Mineral Blend, which has been clinically proven by the University of Mississippi, is that we've taken every good thing we can imagine that's in the soil, and we have put it into the Tower Garden Mineral Blend. So all you have to do is pour a little bit of A and a little bit of B, according to exactly what the label says, and all that hard work is done for you. What I really love about our local hydroponic farmers and growing in your Tower Garden at home is that you're doing something that's beyond organic. You are growing at home pesticide free. You're not wasting a ton of water like organic farms. You're not leaving a massive carbon footprint on planet Earth. You are literally growing your food where you live. And that's one of my favorite things about tower gardening. Now, is that to say that I'm against an organic garden? Heck no. In fact, if you have a place outside to grow organically, I'd grow your carrots and potatoes and things like that love growing in the soil over a several month period. But I love growing in the tower garden for all the reasons we just mentioned tonight. So that's a great closing question, Mitra.
Yeah, and I'll just throw in, as a chemist, the word organic. So what's in the solution, you have to understand, is minerals. And minerals would not be deemed organic because minerals are inorganic. Like there's two definitions of the word organic. One, Tim explained, which relates to agriculture and ecosystems, which that word has morphed over the years and means different things now. It also means that a set of organic pesticides are allowed, so it means a lot of weird things that most people don't realize. And the second is the fertilizer situation is probably the worst thing about growing organically. Even organic fertilizers are destroying our oceans today. So if we can grow what we can grow in the towers, certain things we can't grow in the towers, but if we can grow aeroponically or hydroponically, that movement in general is going to be better for the planet, in so many different ways, as opposed to even organic growing. Having said that, I do buy organic produce. And trust me, it's better than all that other stuff, right? Of course. And then the other thing is a mineral solution would never be deemed organic because it's minerals. Minerals are chemically inorganic. They're organic thing in chemistry. An organic compound is something that has carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. So we are made up of organic molecules. So by the organic chemistry definition of the word organic, minerals are inorganic. They are the inorganic part of chemistry. Okay, so they wouldn't be called organic, and it's a mineral solution. But as Tim said earlier, they're sourced from polluted, sources that are not polluted. They're from, I don't know, what you use some kind of like
clean earth minerals. So they were developed, in planet Earth long before human beings were even around, so like rock phosphate, for example, phosphorus that comes from rock, Epsom salts, as you take a bath in, food grade Epsom salts, magnesium sulfate. Plants use a lot of magnesium, they use a lot of sulfur. So we use food grade Epsom salts, as a mineral source in the Tower Garden solution.
So all that being said, this is what's the coolest thing about Tower Garden technology is that people like Tim and just the whole field of hydroponics, it's like the epiphany of all of that experience and testing and playing and proof in the commercial space, like Troy has, what you see behind Troy, can come to you. You can buy this technology at an affordable price on an installment plan without interest. I mean, it's really, really cool. So, you know, great questions. We appreciate the inquiry and all the questions and all this thinking about the environment. And I want to tell you, you probably cannot find a more eco-friendly solution from all different aspects, whether you look at how much electricity you're using, space, water, you know, runoff, it's a closed system. However you want to slice and dice this, this is amazing technology that you can buy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's awesome.
And more importantly, Nitra, I would just leave you with one thing. When we're harvesting off the tower, I want to show you, Jessica and I are getting ready for a salad snack here, and I can literally start with, even without scissors, I can be snapping, you know, I just literally we've harvested our salad for dinner. So let's leave you with that. That's answered everywhere. We're human beings and we love to eat.
And
Great ending. I love it.
Can I just put in a plug, Troy? You have I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I can't wait to tell my mom, my sister, my aunt, my uncle, they got to buy one of these Tower Gardens. You are shipping seedlings as we speak. Is that correct?
That is correct. We ship seedlings actually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of every week, and we'll make sure we fulfill your order. We have all our supplies back in stock, so we're ready to help take care of your needs, no matter what it is.
And then Troy, you have organic pesticides and different things too, right? Still in stock?
Yes, I'm carrying all the botanicals, everything that's approved for organic farming, along with seedlings we're shipping to you. So I have all those things.
Cool. Thank you so much for your time. And thanks everyone else for tuning in. Really, really great questions. Hopefully we made you feel more confident about what we have here to offer. If you have any interest, the fact that you were on this webinar and you're interested in growing food, trust me, you're not going to find a better solution. So thanks for being here, and we hope you can grow with us. See you.
And I'll just invite everyone, make sure to get your questions answered. If they didn't get answered tonight, talk to the person that invited you onto our call, and they can provide you with all these resources if you didn't get to write them down. But so from me, Tim and Jessica, thank you so much for your time. Troy, I am just like, I wish you would turn that video off, because I'm just like, I need to come take a seedling growing course from True Gardens. But thank you, gentlemen, for all your time and your expertise, and we wish everyone a happy, healthy weekend.
Yeah, appreciate it. Love you all. Stay safe.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thank you.